I was drinking over a gallon of water a day and I was still severely dehydrated. And once I tell you why, you're probably going to realize it's happening to you too. A few years ago, I was that guy. Gym 6 days a week, sauna sessions. This is the beginning of me getting into wellness. I was going to Whole Foods and eating chicken and rice after every workout, crushing sodium packets on the weekends. I thought I was super hydrated because I was drinking so much water. Instead, though, I felt tired, depleted, cramping during my workouts sometimes, and also sometimes at night just waking up with a dry mouth and feeling very dehydrated. Also, I was running to the bathroom a lot, having to pee all the time. Here's what I missed. Every workout, every sauna, every drink was pulling minerals out with the water. And I was only putting in plain water back in. I was flushing my body, not fueling it. So if you're drinking all day and still feel tired, dry, foggy, or crampy, you don't have a water problem. You have a mineral problem. And once you learn about minerals, you can't unlearn it. So what was I actually missing? I was missing minerals. Minerals are basic elements your body can't make on its own. You have to get them from your food and water. And a handful of them carry an electrical charge. Those are your electrolytes: sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and chloride. Here's the part nobody tells you. Your body runs on electricity. Every heartbeat, every muscle, every thought is a tiny electrical signal, and minerals are the spark plugs that fire it. They're behind basically every function happening in your cells right now. Water without minerals is literally like wiring a whole house, filling it with fancy appliances and never turning the power on. It looks finished, but nothing actually works. Here's the mechanism. It's simpler than it sounds. So when you drink, the water doesn't just soak into you. Sodium pulls the water across the wall of your gut and into your blood. Then potassium and magnesium drive it into your cells. This is where hydration actually counts. The whole process is called osmosis. Water follows minerals. So if you're low on minerals, a ton of that water just runs right through you. That's the cruel joke I lived in for years. The more empty water I drank, the more fatigued I felt. Think about it. When someone's badly dehydrated at a hospital, they don't just hand them a glass of plain water. They give them fluids with minerals in them. There's a reason for that. Now, here's a term I use a lot: dead water. Dead water is water with nothing left in it. Distilled, reverse osmosis, water filtered so aggressively clean that there's not a single mineral left. And look, it's not dangerous. Nobody's getting hurt drinking it, but it's a missed opportunity. You're pouring pure, sterile liquid into your body with none of the stuff that makes water actually work for you. And most of the clean water people are proud of drinking, the fancy filtered stuff, is exactly this: pure on its own, but not adding to your hydration levels in a significant way. Now, here's where people actually get mad at me. You've got your fancy bottled water, the one you feel good buying, and you flip it over and you see it says minerals added for taste. Sounds great, right? Except that's usually 2 or 3 cheap minerals tossed back in for flavor, not a real mineral profile, not the 70 plus your body's actually looking for. It's a pinch of seasoning, not a meal. And plus, most often it's sitting in plastic, which is a whole other conversation. But here's the one that actually got me: spring water. I used to think spring water meant some pristine stream pouring straight into a bottle. Then I found out how most of it really works. A lot of spring water that you buy at the store never gets bottled at the source. It gets pumped into tanker trucks, chlorinated so nothing grows on the drive, then dechlorinated and filtered at a facility before it ever hits the bottle. The word pure on that label, that's describing where the bottle came from, not what's actually in your hand. Now, to be fair, good spring water still keeps most of its natural minerals. So it beats dead water every time. I'm not telling you to throw it out. The vast majority of those brands that brand around mountain, stream, beautiful labels are just fancy marketing. Here's the thing that flips the whole conversation. For almost all of human history, nobody drank dead water. Our ancestors drank from springs, rivers, and streams. And water ran over rock and through soil the whole way, picking up minerals as it went. It was mineral water by default. They didn't have any other options of filtration. They weren't being fancy or doing a wellness trend. That's just what water was. Now, I don't want to overly romanticize it, because that same water could also hand them a nasty parasite. So many cultures got clever. They boiled it, brewed it into tea, fermented it, but the baseline water always came loaded with minerals. Then modern filtration showed up and did something genuinely amazing. It made water safe, and that saved millions of lives. No argument there. Water filtration's incredible. But in cleaning out the danger stuff, we stripped out the minerals too. And here's the part that makes it worse. It's not just the water. Our food got stripped too. Industrial farming has been mining the same soil for a century, and a tomato today has nowhere near the minerals a tomato had 50 years ago. And by some measures, fruit and vegetables have lost 20 or up to 50% of their mineral content. And actually, surprisingly, organic farming doesn't fix that. If you buy from regenerative farms, that often does have the mineral content, but most of the conventional produce that you buy at the store doesn't have the minerals. Forget pesticides, it's lacking the minerals that add to our hydration levels. You're eating clean and you still come up short. So the water went empty and the food went thin at the same time. We solved the pathogen problem and are producing foods for cheaper than ever, but we quietly created a mineral problem on both ends. Okay, so how do you fix this without overthinking it? So there's definitely levels to this. We're going to start wherever you can. So first up, cheapest one, food. Let's dial in our hydration levels through food. You get a ton of minerals from what you eat and drink. Leafy greens, avocados, nuts, seeds. I love coconut water. This is basically nature's natural electrolyte drink and it's high in potassium. That's an electrolyte that we often don't get enough of, minus the blue dye that you find in Gatorades. Herbal teas are great, fruit and vegetables packed with water. This alone moves the needle in about a week, but try to get it from the farmer's market so you're actually getting those real mineral levels rather than from your local grocery store. Dialing in your food first because we're all already eating food is so important. The downsides of spring water are cost, and often it's bottled in plastic. So a budget-friendly way to fully dial in your drinking water, you get a reverse osmosis filtration system and then add the minerals back in. I'm going to get into that later in the video, how to add the minerals back in, but this is a completely clean and budget-friendly way to add mineral-rich water into your diet without having to buy spring water all the time. You get to revitalize that water and bring it back to life. You get safety and minerals. And over time, it's way cheaper than buying water by the case, and you're way more eco-friendly on the environment. Once I dialed in my food and my drinking water, I stopped having as much brain fog and noticed so many benefits from this simple hack. I always tell people before you go take a bunch of different supplements, dial in your hydration levels. This is the foundation of good health. Let's be honest about that. Before you go and buy all these different supplements and vitamins that you're seeing on Instagram, dial in your hydration. You want to get rid of the chlorine, the fluoride, the bacteria in the water. You want to make sure it's really mineralized, and you don't want to be drinking out of plastic all the time. Just expanding on tap water a little bit, there's a lot of byproducts, sometimes pharmaceutical byproducts, fluoride. Some older cities, you also have to worry about the pipes. What is the water actually traveling through when it makes it to you? This is one of the biggest hacks to improve your health. Tap water is not optimized for you to thrive. If you get an RO system and then you add the minerals back in, you're going to notice major benefits. So you've seen all the electrolyte powders everywhere in the world right now. Are they the answer? Well, there's some benefits to them, but they're not what I recommend. There's two traps. The old school sports drinks are basically sugar water with a pinch of sodium and an artificial color like red 40 or yellow 5, and a color that doesn't exist in nature. The trendy new ones swing hard the other way. They dump in a massive amount of sodium and there's not much else. Here's the issue. Sodium is important, but funny enough, it's the one mineral that most of us are already getting enough of. Real hydration is the whole profile, and most people are not getting enough potassium and magnesium and trace minerals. All of these play together to optimize your hydration levels. Sodium alone is one instrument. Hydration is the whole orchestra. As we talked about earlier, osmosis, you need to actually get that water into the cells. And that mega dose of salt isn't the right choice for everyone. A lot of people are dealing with hypertension and don't want to be adding too much sodium to their diets anyways. So these aren't useless necessarily. I have some friends that train really hard, CrossFit athletes, triathletes, marathon runners. Some of those sodium powders can be really great in those use cases, but generally for the average person, it's too much sodium. This is the piece that I wish I understood back when I was getting into my fitness journey initially, because I was dehydrated and I was adding just sodium back in, but not getting enough of these other minerals. The whole game is when you get what your cells need for them to thrive. And minerals are what unlock that door. So let's talk about fulvic acid. Fulvic acid's entire job in nature is shuttling minerals straight into cells. It comes from ancient plant matter broken down over thousands of years, and it grabs trace minerals and carries them right where they need to go. Our fulvic acid and trace ocean mineral formula gives you over 70 trace minerals in their ionic form. The charged form that your body actually recognizes and uses. Ionic are the most bioavailable form of minerals you can get. A couple drops in your water, and you've taken dead water and turned it back into a mineral-rich elixir. That's the whole trick. That's the bring it back to life step in the system I just walked you through. That's what's on my counter every morning now. So I fill up a pitcher with my reverse osmosis system and I add the fulvic acid and trace ocean minerals to remineralize that pitcher and I put it in the fridge. I'm no longer buying spring water by the case. This is much more budget friendly. When the minerals are there, here's what people tend to notice: steadier energy without the afternoon faceplant, clearer focus, better workouts, and faster recovery, fewer cramps, skin that doesn't feel like paper. And those are the exact things that go missing when you're underhydrated. So many of us don't need more water. We just need more minerals. So I've outlined the whole thing, the routine, the budget, the setup, the food list, all of it into a hydration guide. And I've added it to the very first link in my bio. Go ahead and grab it. And tell me down in the comments, what's your water situation right now? Are you drinking tap water? Do you have a home water filter system? Are you adding minerals back in? I love when you guys leave comments. It tells me what to do next. Thank you for your time.